We want to make sure that this is a common way that Kenyans can work. So that, and it's amazing the number of people, the number of young people. And when I talk to some of them, they were telling, because they will. Our Kenyan human capital, and I speak about it very proudly and very often, is the best resource we have. It is our gold, it's our oil, it is the asset that we have as a country, our Kenyan human capital. It is the reason why I have gone out of my way to make sure that we sharpen that human capital. It is the reason why we have hired 56,000 teachers in the last 2 years, the highest in the history of Kenya, because we want to give every Kenyan child a chance to get education, because the best way to sharpen and to make good our human capital is to make sure that they get the correct knowledge, they get the correct education, they get the opportunity for training, and they get an opportunity to acquire knowledge and skills. It is the reason we have expanded money going to our TVETs and money going to our universities. It is the reason why we are having a very big conversation in Kenya on higher education funding, university funding. It is because we must keep our focus on using the best asset that we have, our human capital, to drive our progress and to drive our economy. It is the reason why among the things that are important to us as a nation today is how do we create opportunities for the millions of young people who come out of college, who come out of school, who come out of our universities to get jobs. Our housing program today creates 160,000 jobs. 160,000 Kenyans who are not working 2 years ago, they are working today in our housing plan. I went to inspect the housing program, I think it was on Monday, in Kibra. And it's amazing the number of people, the number of young people. And when I talked to some of them, they were telling me that because we've worked here for a year, we want the recognition of prior learning. We've acquired skills here. How do we get papers so that when we move to the next project, we are not being hired as casuals, we are being hired as skilled labor because we have acquired skills. It is the reason why we are working with UNIDO and others, working on our county aggregation industrial parks. It is the reason why we have new 5 special economic zones and export processing zones that will tap into creating opportunities for employment for export of textiles, of agro-processed goods, and we are looking at opportunities on how to expand jobs in that space. It is the reason why, number 3, under our digital superhighway program, we are expanding our digital hubs. Majority of our TVETs today have a digital hub. We have close to 140,000 young people in our TVETs today who are working online. I was very, very impressed when I went to one of our TVETs, and I was telling the German Chancellor yesterday, when I went to one of our TVETs, and I found a young man there called Brian, and he said, Mr. President, I am working for an AI company in Germany. And this is Brian, who has not even been to Nairobi. He even doesn't have a passport. But he's working for an AI company, and we are yet even to pass AI regulations in our parliament. But he's already way ahead, you know? He's already way ahead. The conversation we were having this week was how we are going to work with Parliament so that we can begin to find a regulatory framework for artificial intelligence, because we have so much benefit coming out of artificial intelligence, how we can leverage on it to make sure that we have all that we need. But also it comes with fake news, misinformation, disinformation. How do we manage that? Because it undermines, the benefits of technology. Mr. Mushangi there, who is the chairman of the Labour Committee in Parliament, now has the Labour Migration Bill that we are working on to provide again another, legal and institutional capacity for us to manage matters labor properly. We are also establishing the Diaspora Placement Agency under her State Department, again, to make that whole exercise seamless. And it is the reason why when the President of Germany came to Kenya last year, and I had a conversation with him, and in having a one-on-one with him, he told me, Mr. President, we have a labor crisis in Germany. We need close to between 250 and 300,000 people, skilled laborers, semi-skilled labor in Germany. So there's been a back and forth between our teams, and yesterday became the climax when we could actually sign off this comprehensive migration and labor mobility partnership that will provide, and this is just for Germany. We are negotiating for another maybe almost 19 countries on how we want to make sure that there's a formal way that Kenyans can work, so that we can also protect Kenyans who come and work here. There must be a framework where we make sure that nobody takes advantage of them. They are paid what is due to them. They are treated in the manner in which they should be, because in the absence of an agreement, it becomes difficult to enforce. So that agreement will give us the opportunity to enforce the requirements of the law in this country, as we also jointly do it in Kenya. It will also give us the opportunity to make sure that there are no abuses of Kenyans and nobody takes advantage of our country. Today, I was meeting the recruiting agencies in the morning. They've been having very serious problems of accessing this market because we didn't have an agreement. Today, we are using the agreement to make it easy. First, to make sure that we have mutual recognition of skills. Second, we have elimination of unnecessary barriers for those people who have an opportunity to work here. Three, it creates a seamless connection between the opportunities in Germany, that are many, and the millions of young people in Kenya that are looking for those opportunities. This agreement facilitates those who are looking for opportunities, and nobody will be forced to come to Germany. It is a volunteer. When you're looking for a job, you look for a job in a place where you are comfortable to work. The rules are there, the regulations are there, and much more importantly, there are citizens who come from Kenya, work for the companies here, and sometimes they are abused and they are mishandled. The agreement gives us now the opportunity to make sure that we can protect the rights of Kenyans working in Germany. Making sure that they are paid in accordance with the law. We don't want Kenyans to be underpaid merely because they are of the color of their skin. they are also treated as they should, as we treat citizens of other countries. It also gives us an opportunity to have visas for people who want to train in Germany, which has always been a problem. And secondly, it also gives us an opportunity to, even when you have trained, it now gives you an opportunity for you to have industrial attachment, visa for you to stay here, to make sure that you have an opportunity for industrial attachment. And then it also gives you an opportunity, once you have a company that now wants to hire you, it also makes sure that you have the legal framework for you to work here with proper documentation. Technology is going to influence many things in the future. It is the reason why we are digitizing government services. We had 350 government services digitized in 2022. We now have 20,000 digitized. And it is my intention that by the end of this year, every government service must be on the digital platform, so that it doesn't matter where you are, whether you are within country or even outside country, you can engage with government, and you can get access to government services. It will be a very important intersection between where we are coming from and what the future looks like. And it is the reason why we are going to Parliament, because there is now going to be another divide, the digital divide. We were left behind before. This time round, on technology, we do not want to be left behind. And it is the reason why we are discussing with Parliament how we are going to create the legal environment and the legal infrastructure to support our growth of this sector. Luckily for us, Kenya is a very tech-savvy country. Our plan is to have a digital hub in every ward in Kenya. That is why we are rolling out fiber optic using Kenya Power, so that every place when Kenya Power is delivering electricity, on the same backbone, they will be delivering internet. And that contract has already been signed. It is actually works in progress.
What are the conversations that you're having to make our school system kind of the same with the German system? So when we are translating our documents, our Anerkennung, our work credentials, that they are accredited here, that we are given the same chances as the Germans who are here. Because you are starting from scratch. As they said, you are going through a lot of stress as men. We've studied back in Kenya, we have our degrees, you come here, you're told you have to start again.
Some of the Kenyans who come here, you have qualified, but when you come here, you are told you're taken back a year. Yes. And you're told, go back to school and do this. And it is because we didn't have a framework. Now we do. And in fact, one of the issues that actually two issues I raised with the German Chancellor was, how do we have mutual recognition of skills? And it is provided for under this agreement. We will now work on how does a plumber in Kenya, an engineer in Kenya, a nurse in Kenya, how do we make sure that they have the same qualification? So that when you come from Kenya as a nurse, it is already recognized that if you are licensed as a nurse in Kenya, it is the same licensing that can get you into the German space.
So one of the questions that has been asked a lot is, how is Kenya and the German government going to build sustainable structures for our brothers and sisters coming to work in this country? What is the Kenyan government going to do? And what is the German government doing about it? And how is that going to be implemented? And most importantly, who are the people doing the implementation?
We are concerned that we have millions of young people coming out of college with skills, with competencies, but we do not have enough jobs at the moment in our country. Should we deny them the opportunity to come and work in Germany? I don't think so. And that is the reason why we took the bold step that, okay, we have a youth bulge. We have a labor market in Germany. What does government do? You proactively engage with the labor market so that you provide a mechanism that is win-win, that secures opportunities but also protects Kenyans from being exploited. And that is what we have provided in this agreement. And I cannot say it is 100% perfect. Maybe there are areas we can improve. And that is why I asked my sister there, as a lawyer in this country, to look at the agreement. If there are areas we can make it better, let's do.
Youth can be a blessing or a curse. If you don't empower them through opportunities for education to acquire skills, they become basically failures. They become delinquents, drug addicts, criminals. So they're basically a burden on society. But if you impart skills on these youths so that they are able to do work here and there, then they become a motive force for development. That's why we all the time laid a lot of emphasis on education, from ECD through primary to secondary to university education. So you're here, and you're here and you're working because you got the education opportunity to learn. But see, what you're having in Africa again is lack of opportunities. Lack of opportunities to employ these youth. That's why the reason why I'm very happy that we are talking about people living in Kenya and working for companies in Germany. And this agreement has just been signed here between us, that Kenyans can work for German corporations when they're living there in Kenya. Okay? And then, so, in other words, instead of these people exporting labor to Africa, we are the ones who are now exporting labor where? Here. Because you see, whereas we have a youth dividends, these people have got a youth deficit here. It's an aging society. And that's why I'm so happy that the government has signed an agreement here with the government, the government of Germany, so that our people who are living here can live and work here properly without exploitation. This is very, very important, because this is an agreement that is signed between this government and many other governments in Europe. In fact, EU has got regulations about mobility of labor and how this, those women migrating from one country to another country are to be treated. So this is what we want also to happen to our people, our Kenyan people, so that Kenyans who live out here feel protected and they cannot be exploited by anybody.